Hey, hi, hello there. Welcome back to another Anthropologist Watches Amberlynn Reid. First off, the glasses stay. I'm very sorry. My eyes are killing me today, and this is pretty much the only way I can relax them is using my smarty glasses. So Professor Blue is in the house. The other thing I want to say is some interesting things popped up in my comments section on the last video that I posted, specifically around Amber's mimicking. It's something that I've mentioned more than one time, but in particular, somebody brought up the YouTuber Kendall Rae. Yes, I'm almost positive it's Kendall Rae. We'll find out in a second when I hop over to the channel. Anyway, I'm sure way back, because most of us have memories longer than a goldfish, remember the infamous purple shirt incident. Bum, bum, bum. Anyway, I'm not that clever with editing, or I would have done like the... Y'all know what I'm talking about. Anyway, the point is this particular video, the intro dragged because Amber decided that she was going to be upset about this. And so she cut in like 2 or 3 seconds into the intro and she was like, oh my God, you guys, the string is hanging out of my shirt. Oh, and it was annoying because she kept cutting in throughout this entire intro. And like every 30 seconds, she had to cut in and be like, editing Lynn here. Oh my God, you guys, did you see the string hanging out of my shirt? And everybody the reactors I watch, which are basically Alex is shook and kicking geese. Basically it. Sometimes Milk Tea Reacts will cover Amber. But all of them were just like, even Milk Tea Reacts was like, and move on. But she just kept harping on it. And so it's a very memorable moment in the Amberverse. One might say iconic. However, it was brought up in my comments section that Amber is mimicking someone. I know, shock and awe. I have mentioned many times throughout the videos that Amber is a mimic. She takes on, and I'm not the first person to point this out, so please don't give me credits for this, but Amber's a mimic. She takes on the personalities of the people she's around or the people that she's interacting with the most. Now, remember, Amber doesn't interact with reality very often. It's all internet, YouTube, probably TV shows. And we know she likes to watch a lot of reality television shows because she tells us about it. So we know she's watching a good deal of reality television too, which is very real. Very, very real. Very real, like her drama. Which explains a lot of what Amber does in her videos. She acts. She's an actor. She's not a good actor, but she's an actor. And unlike when you're watching television or you're watching a movie and you know the actor or actress is acting because it's a movie, they are capable of immersing themselves in the role enough to get a emotional reaction from us, whether, you know, they're a bad guy and, oh God, I hate you so much. Or they're like, you know, they're the love interest and their heart's broken. And you're like, oh my God, I feel so sorry for you. I mean, that's the whole point. You are empathizing with the actor. You're empathizing with the character that the actor is portraying, which is the point. That's what makes the movies fun. Reality television is essentially the same thing. It's just people who act poorly, who can't always sell the characters, and then they tell us, well, the reason that they suck is because it's reality. This isn't scripted, you guys. Page 5. Totally not scripted. So that kind of a thing. Amber absorbs the pacing and the sensational and the drama of reality television, and that's what she's projecting because Amber thinks she's a reality television show. Any other time, Amber is mimicking what she sees on reality television and what she sees on YouTube videos. And to bolster my argument that has lasted longer than I cared to, purple shirt and the string in said purple shirt. One of my lovely commenters, I believe one of my interns, if you want to be an intern, you too can be a member. There should be a link in the comments down below or in the description down below. Let me know if it works. Anyway, what do they call this? Exhibit A. This is Kendall Rae. If you don't know who Kendall Rae is, because I didn't, Kendall Rae does true crime videos and has the most adorable kitten in the world. Oh my God, I should do that. Except I use fake backgrounds, so you would never see the cats in the background. Oh my God, I want to pet that cat. Anyway, Kendall Rae does true crime videos. I am not a true crime fan, so I wouldn't have known about this at all. She's not. I've skipped through several of her videos. She seems to be very genuine in her presentation. She's not sensationalizing. She's not eating cheese while describing the death of an entire cult. She's, if I were to watch something, and she actually has a couple on the Murdoch trials, which I was stuck to the television, well, to the YouTubes during the Murdoch trials. So I might go back and actually watch those. But this isn't one of those. In her video from a month ago now, according to the description, this is the Denise Flum? PFLUM. I'm going to go with Flum. This is Denise Flum goes missing after a spring break bonfire / what happened to her. That's the name of the video. I'll try to link it down below. Anyway, in this video, you see that she's wearing a black shirt here. This is editing, Kendall. However, this is Kendall during the entire video. Do we notice something similar here? The part that really gets me here is not actually the shirt string. The shirt string is kind of... the shirt string is Amber mimicking something that she saw. But this shirt is the exact same color. It's a bit much. There's mimicking and then there's straight on like copying. This is a little bit beyond a mimic. She is completely recreating this entire scene. And maybe it's a troll. Maybe she doesn't think people will watch. I mean, Kendall only has 300.6 million viewers. Surely no one will have watched her. I'm wrapping my head around this because this is beyond mimic behavior. So I needed to kind of sit with this for a little while, but I wanted to share it with everybody because when I saw it this morning after checking my comments, it really shocked me, actually. This is a whole other level of I don't know what to call it just yet, but I'll find words for it later. I wanted to make people aware of it because I am going to go over this in a different video where I can dedicate like some actual time to it, but it's like 10 minutes into this video already. So I do want to talk more about Amber and this weird mimicking thing that this isn't even mimicking. This is just straight up like doppelganger. She's doppelganging. And I think I made that up, but I will clarify it later. However, that is not why we are here today. We are here today to watch Having a Breakdown, Self-Sabotage, and Memories of When I Was a Child / with photos. The problem is now that I know that she's done this, now I'm suspicious of like literally everything in her videos. So now I'm going to be watching it with such a closer eye than I have before. So please bear with me when I go off on my 5-minute tangents about extremely strange mimic behavior. And I will find a better catalog of words to use so that I'm not constantly just saying the word mimic over and over again. But I haven't watched this one yet. Thankfully, it dropped in the morning, so I haven't had it spoiled for me. So let's get into this. It's a 13-minute video, which means this is going to be like an hour and a half long react. So let's go. I'm speeding her up. I'm speeding her up at the first this time. All right, there we go. All right, she's at time and a quarter as always. So if she seems particularly animated, that's because I animated her. All right, let's...
Hello. Welcome to a new vlog. So I was on TikTok last night. I have like this thing that
You've got to get off TikTok. Okay, so now on top of everything else, we have TikTok to add to this, but we knew that because that's where the mustard chip
I do. It's a little schedule where right before bed, I just scroll on TikTok, and something about it just like calms me down. My melatonin's flowing through my body.
Okay, I'm going to tell you guys something right now. Scrolling on any social media, TikTok especially because of the short attention span theater, is the absolute worst thing you can do if you're trying to go to sleep. Amber doesn't sleep.
And I don't know what it is. I do it for like 20 minutes. It is what it is. And I got this TikTok that popped up about like something about like when you have a Jeep, which is one of my favorite cars, by the way. I'm not really a car girly.
Is she coming for me? Like, seriously. My favorite car is also a Jeep. My favorite car specifically is the Jeep truck thing. It has a name, but it is the coolest car I have ever seen in my life. And I want one so badly. But not only do I not have the finances for that because it's a brand new car and oh my God, but I have absolutely no reason to own a Jeep truck because they are off-road vehicles because of course it's a Jeep. So not only can I not defend my ownership of it financially, I cannot defend my ownership of it like practically either. So basically what I'm saying is when I have my midlife crisis, I'm going to be buying a Jeep truck for no apparent reason and driving it around my neighborhood.
But I do like a Jeep. I like a G-Wagon if we're being like...
Really? That just proves to me she doesn't have any clue what she's talking about.
Super detailed. So anyways, I saw this TikTok where there was like tons of ducks on the Jeep and I was like, is this one of those things on TikTok that isn't actually real? I just open my blinds, which I do every single...
Is she aware that there's stuff on TikTok that isn't actually real?
morning, and there's a Jeep parked across from my apartment. The whole windshield. I mean, there's at least 20 ducks. And I was like, oh my God, this is a real thing. I don't drive. I don't have a Jeep.
Press X to
But I'm almost tempted to go buy some little ducks just to put on Jeeps. I don't know why people with Jeeps do this. I don't know, but I just learned it and now I'm physically...
Is she talking about actual ducks or is she talking about like rubber ducks? Because I was under the impression we were talking about rubber duck or like actual ducks sitting on a Jeep, which would be weird enough to begin with, but it's TikTok. God only knows what you're going to find on there. It's like early YouTube. No one knows what's going on. Right now it sounds like she's talking about rubber ducks, which I've seen people do. They collect those like novelty rubber duckies and then like people glue all kinds of crap to their dashboard. I am one of those people, so I'm sorry. But yeah, I've seen the rubber duckies thing. I don't know why that's so weird. Lots of people do that with lots of different things. And I've seen the ducks on more than one occasions because they're cute and they're fun. And there's like, whatever you're into, there's a duck for that. There's a whole set of rubber duckies for the BTS line. So if you're into K-pop, specifically BTS, you're solid. I'm just saying, like, they literally have rubber duckies for anything that you're into. But why is it? This just proves you don't get out. There are lots of cars that do this. Lots of people collect these things. And what else are you
seen it in real life? I've had not a good day today. I got my dress stained, so I'm going to change my...
Oh, that's a dress? I have a love-hate relationship with this shirt. I really like the color, especially when it's in actual lighting. But the faded part of it kind of looks like she's just covered in hair. So it like love-hate
shirt real quick. So I will be right back. I just think it's so funny because the last time that happened, I was also wearing that dress. So like, what's happening? Well, I have had such a hard day today. I have not been wanting to film. I've been back on my like heartbreak bullshit, like
you stopped
crying and just feeling super unmotivated to do anything really. Y'all, I literally just slammed my finger in a door.
The only reason I'm pausing here is because somebody said something in my comment section about it's like being surprised that your pinky finger hurts after you smashed it with a hammer. That's the only reason I'm pausing it.
I was taking Twinkie potty when I was coming back in. I don't know what I did, but yeah, now my finger, it's not bruised, swollen or anything, but it's like throbbing a little bit, so that hurt. But I wanted to do some P.O. Box. I still have my P.O. Box, so if you want to send me anything, here's my P.O. Box.
All right, I do want to have a serious moment here. Her telling me about that, actually, I really listen when she tells us about the little injuries that she gets because I've pointed out in the box buying video that she is losing dexterity. And a lot of people are like, oh, but her hands are just so fat. Her hands are swollen. And that is part of being the size that she is and having probably undiagnosed health problems that she has, but not a doctor can't diagnose. However, it's very easy to see that she has lost the ability to do fine motor skills with her fingers, which is another reason why I'm not particularly like against the Legos, because it does take like, it's not like the finest motors. It's not like knitting, but where it's like very detailed motor skills with your hands, but it is something that keeps her fingers moving. So, and it's that kind of thing that she needs to do more of. But this whole, like, I don't know how I slammed my finger in the door. I know we've all stubbed our toe or slammed our finger. We've all injured ourselves in some ridiculous way that we could have prevented if we had just been paying like this much more attention, but we didn't. And so we've injured ourselves some ridiculous way. And it's usually not a serious injury. It's just enough for you to be like, I did a dumb thing and ow, I'm in pain. So that's not what I'm coming for her for. And I'm not really coming for her. I just want to point out that like these little injuries that she continues to tell us about, or you can see on her body, they're like clumsy injuries. And there's a lot of them. And they happen frequently, or at least they happen frequently enough that when she mentions them. And it's concerning. I keep comparing her to my paternal grandmother because there's a lot of similarities between Amber and my paternal grandmother. The narcissism is not one of them. But we're all a little narcissistic, so please cool your jets. But the progression of problems that Amber has because of her obesity is very similar to my paternal grandmother. So my grandmother started losing dexterity in her hands. Now, she had arthritis, so she had a head start to begin with, but her hands began to swell when she began to put on immense amounts of weight. And she lost a lot of her basically fine motor skills, I would call them. She had a hard time. She couldn't drink from like a regular glass because she couldn't hold on to it. And a lot of that was, again, she had the arthritis. So like her hand strength wasn't great, but she didn't have like the ability to like wrap her fingers around the glass because her fingers wouldn't wrap. They would only go like here. Part of it was because like the joints were just non-existent, but the other part of it was her hands were so swollen she couldn't move her hands. And I don't see Amber drink out of things very often. Like the can, I guess I could go back and like seriously scrutinize the can, but we don't see Amber drink out of things without a straw very frequently. But that's kind of where my grandmother ended up. She had to have either something with a handhold that she could get her hand through, which wasn't a lot of things because her hands swelled, or she had to drink from a straw because she couldn't hold the glass long enough to take a drink. So this whole like slamming her finger in a door, I know I'm like at the worst case scenario ending here, but it's the little things that lead up to that, like the inability to move and lift a cardboard box, to accidentally slamming my finger in the door. She was talking about how she fell a month ago. I mean, anybody would have slipped on that, I suppose. And it's a 50-50 crapshoot if you would have been able to catch yourself before you hit the ground, I guess. But Amber falls frequently. Amber has fallen more in the time that I have watched her than I have since the time I've watched her. I'm not saying that I'm like, some kind of like magnificent athlete that, wins gold medals or anything. I'm just an average person. But that's the thing. I am more active, do more things, and am in more situations where it is the potential for me to fall is great. And I have not fallen. I haven't fallen. Watch, I'll go land on my ass now that I've said this, but I haven't fallen in the entire time I've watched Amberlynn Reid. Amber has fallen at least 3 times that I have in my memory, probably more if I went back and actually paid attention. Anyway, real talk moment. This loss of motor function is just, it should be distressing. It should be distressing. Okay? I'm just putting
my contract for the P.O. box is for the next couple of months, so you guys can still send me stuff. I've had people ask. So first thing I'm gonna open is this package here.
Can't be a video.
So these are some really pretty earrings from Bobby. Thank you so freaking much. Like, look how beautiful those are. Their dad actually made them for me, specifically for me. Aww. So that's like super freaking sweet and amazing. Thank you so much, like, to think of me. And
Bobby and Mike, I need you guys to quit sending her earrings. No more earrings, guys.
And to like take the time to do that. They're stunning. So the next thing is this package right here, which there's no note to, but it's a book called Life Isn't Weighed on the Bathroom Scales by Laura Rose. So I guess it's a book about like...
Well, I just went down a rabbit hole, but I can't find anything out about this book other than it's not published anymore. And probably somebody got it at a used bookstore. Also, yes, it's darker. My eyes are killing me, and that ring light is not helping, so I'm sorry, but we have to do this in the dark. Mwah. I think I can turn my screen up, though. Nope, no I can't. Well, suffer. Alright, alright. It sounds like an FA thing, but the only person I could find was the Instagram lady. However, the wording of the Instagram account sounds like something that would go along with this book, but it was weight loss transformation pictures, so not FA?
Debunking myths about weight loss industry, I guess. So whoever sent this to me, thank you. Okay, guys, so I'm about to actually show you something super, super like special to me. So I'm just gonna do a real quick backstory. I am the oldest of 4. I have 3 younger brothers.
I am the oldest of 4. Okay, you go. She's very proud of her status within her family. Wow, she's serious about this too.
And when I was first put into foster care, me and one of my brothers were put into foster care while the other one actually got put up for closed adoption. So he was adopted, and that was one of the hardest things that I've ever had to go through. And then my mom ended up getting pregnant again, and she ended up having my baby brother, and I only got to meet him one time. My mom actually had him while I was in foster care, but I was able to go to the hospital where she had him for a supervised visit, and I held him in my arms, and my mom actually sent me a picture. I don't even know how she still has it, but she sent
you a picture? Why? You would think you'd want a picture of that.
Sent me a picture of that day. Yeah, she did. Like, there's not a lot of things I remember from my childhood, but I remember that moment, and
Okay, whenever she's fake crying, somebody told me to like check her hands whenever she's fake crying, because apparently she like taps her earbud and turns on sad music. I don't know about that one. I will keep an eye out for her, but she didn't do it here. However, I have noticed when she's fake crying, she looks up. She does a lot of looking up when she fake cries. She'll look up and she's like, and that's usually like the failure to launch of the tears. People can be sad without crying. I mean, and people can get like the quivery, wavery voice when they're not crying. I look like an old crone. People can cry without shedding tears, is my point. So there's that. But I have noticed that this is fake cry. I don't think she's not emotional, and I don't think that this isn't special to her. I haven't even seen the picture yet. And it doesn't really matter. I don't doubt that this is true. But again, this is another one of those situations where what we're seeing right now, whether it's genuine or not off camera, like when she did get the picture, maybe she did actually tear up and cry a little bit. But we didn't get to see that because of course not. I mean, it's in the moment. She doesn't literally film every second of her life, thank God. So we're not going to see the genuine reactions to things. But this is a recreation, and she's trying to recreate like every second of it, and she's bad at it. She's bad at acting. And honestly, this story would be a whole lot more impactful or just enjoyable if she had just said something to the effect of, oh, when I got the picture, I teared up a little because this was a special moment in my life, and not tried to cry.
I remember that day, and I remember how like wonderful it was, but also how hard it was. So in this photo, I am
like, everything in her life is hard. Everything is hard.
About 12 years old, and 3 years later, I actually wrote a poem. So I was 15, and I still have that poem. I remember when I was in high school, I went to the trailer where I used to live, and there was still some stuff laying around, couches, and things were torn apart by the police, and it was just insane. But there was a few things still left in my room.
I'm gonna need an explanation for that one. So I know she got taken away. I know that. And I think I recall that her parents have been arrested for illicit use. But the police don't tend to tear things up unless they're looking for things. And then they're just completely, they don't give a crap. Why? Did her parents get arrested for dealing? Anyway, I don't know this story, apparently. I don't know the details of this story, apparently. I do believe that she probably did go back to her old trailer. I mean, I was in a lot of places I shouldn't have been when I was a kid.
And one of those things was the poem that I wrote about my baby brother, who I only got to meet one time. And through all the years of being alive, because I'm 32, I have been able to keep that poem. So I want to show you the picture. I also want to read you the poem. The poem is not that good. Remember, I was 15, okay? But it was...
I am not a fan of poetry. I don't care whose poetry it is. I've gotten to see Maya Angelou talk in person twice in my lifetime. It was an amazing event both times. I don't like poetry. I don't even like Maya Angelou's poetry, and she is like considered like a poet laureate of the United States. Sorry. So that right there should set the scene for this. If I don't like a lauded sage of a poet, you know, a national treasure of a poet, I'm not going to like your poetry either. I'm sorry. And Amber's is not even on the same level, the same planet as Maya Angelou's poetry. So I just needed you all to know how much I don't like poetry before we go into this, because this is going to be painful for me if she's going to be
special and important to me, and I really want to open up a little bit more and show it. You're out there under the same moon. We place our feet on the same gravel.
Oh, God.
I met you once and held you tight. I think of the sadness of my last goodbye. You looked at me with baby eyes, oblivious to your future versus mine. Our mom made the choice while I suffer the consequence. Although I saw everything we could be, our mom made the choice and set you free. A brother I will love forever, who will never love me. My first brother that was put up for adoption that I was really close to saved his life.
I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to pause right there. Saved his life. I was going to say that wasn't the worst thing I've ever heard. After stating my stance on poetry, I still didn't like it, but it's not the worst thing. It wasn't like a fortune cookie, so. And then my other brother, whose life I saved. God, really? You can't let that go. We get it. You're a hero.
And everything. I still don't know where he is. I think about him, dream about him, miss him, love him dearly, and I just hope that he's okay. But the one in that photo that I just showed you guys, he found us a few years ago.
Oh,
so
okay.
He is actively in my life, and I can safely say that, you know, that last line in the poem isn't true. He loves me and I love him, and I've never been so grateful, and I can only hope that my other baby brother will find me one day, hopefully.
Okay, so I'm just trying to put things together because I did interrupt it a lot of times and I'm not going to go back. But so she and her eldest younger brother still, well, they grew up somewhat together. And then there's the first baby brother. That's the one that she saved. And that's the one that she's recently been in contact with, because I know one of the baby brothers has contacted her recently in the recent several years past. I think it was while she was still with Becky, but either way. So she has a third brother that she has no contact with still. Is that the timeline? Is that... I'm not slamming it. I just want to get it straight in my head. I need to know. Is that what y'all heard compared to what I heard?
So right now I'm actually making a little store list moment and kind of thinking more of like, what is it that I want to do with myself? Like, I thoroughly just feel so lost as a person right now.
I've noticed.
Just feel so lost, and I just need to find myself, be myself, like, just wholeheartedly.
There are websites I can send you to full of journaling questions that can help you with this. Assuming you actually journal.
I don't care about what anyone says about me. I don't care. I just need to be myself, and I have to keep like reminding myself of that, because the only person I got right now is myself. That's the only person I got right now. And with how lost I feel, like if I didn't even have myself, I don't even know. Like, I just don't even know. Just like amongst.
God damn it! There's a song and it's just like just. Never mind, I can't sing it because I don't know it.
And just like feeling lost. I know that I'm gaining weight. Like, I actively see it in my face when I'm editing, and it kind of shocks me. I'm not gonna lie, because like it's hard to notice weight loss on my body, and it's also really hard to notice weight gain on my body. And the fact that I can like physically see that.
I don't know about that one. I think it's hard for her. Probably. It's one of those things where, you know, you look at yourself every day and you don't see the changes. When you're losing weight, this is what I can speak to. When you're losing weight, you know, you look at yourself every day in the mirror. Usually, I mean, we all have a mirror because we get dressed. Most of us, unless you're a vampire. So we see ourselves daily, and probably multiple times throughout a day. And because of that, you know, we don't notice the change because it's subtle. It happens very slowly. So I can see her saying that she doesn't notice the weight gain. I can believe that, actually. We see a snapshot of her day. Right now she's uploading daily. Usually she's like every other day-ish. So we see a time lapse where she sees constant. Like, I think what do they say? It takes like 3 months for you to notice the weight loss on yourself. But I've had people say to me, "Oh, you look like you're losing weight," or, you know, you look good in your clothes. Thank you. Did I not before? That kind of a thing. But yeah, so people will notice the weight loss before you notice the weight loss. And I think it's the same thing here in reverse. We're noticing the weight gain before she notices it, just because like she's interacting with herself constantly throughout the day and just doesn't notice it because it's so subtle. It's sneaking up on her. And probably she doesn't notice it until she's like 5 to 10 pounds heavier than what she was last time she looked at herself, I guess. I don't know.
I hate it. I hate it so much. Like, I just can't sit around and sit and wait and wait and wait. Like, what am I waiting for? You know? And
someday my prince will come. She says things that I understand, you know, like I get the mental space of like, who am I? What am I doing? What should I do with my life? It doesn't go away. Like, this isn't with anyone else, with anyone else. I'm not even going to say like normal people. I'm just going to say with everyone else, this is a conversation I think most people have with themselves monthly, if not daily. You know, who am I? What am I doing? Why am I here? Sometimes you'll even go as far as like, how can I improve? What can I do to make life better for myself and others? You know, some people question that. It's what journaling's for, in my opinion. You know, you get into your head and you sit with yourself for a while and you hate it every moment of it. And then you write it down on a piece of paper and you close the book and you forget about it forever. Or you type it up on your computer and then handwrite it into your journal verbatim so that it's existing in a journal as opposed to on your computer. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So I get the part, but the thing that I don't believe, the thing that doesn't resonate with me is like, she says she has these moments, but she never does anything or changes in any way that tells me that A, she's deeply thinking about it, and B, actively trying to do something, you know, like I'm sure we're going to sit here and have some kind of, you know, master plan on how to finish morphing into new Lynn, but I don't for a minute think she's going to follow through.
I don't know why, but like I keep having like these feelings of guilt, and I talk about guilt a lot in therapy.
Literally things you should talk to a therapist about. When I was
younger, things that were definitely not my fault, and it's like my therapist is trying to teach me like when it's okay to feel guilt and when I'm feeling guilt for like reasons that really don't make sense.
Okay, no, I don't believe she's seeing a therapist now. My therapist, all of my therapists in my life, I've had a few, not like a bunch. I've had a few. Anytime I have ever gone into a therapist and said, I feel X and I don't think I should feel that way, every single one of them, and they've all used different therapy techniques, every single one of them has said, it doesn't matter if you think you should feel that way, you feel that way and your feelings are valid. You are allowed to feel X about Y. You are allowed to have these feelings. It's what you're going to do. There's no, you shouldn't feel that way ever. Because I think that's like a law of therapy. Like you're just therapists. I've never had a therapist tell me you shouldn't feel a certain way or your feelings about this are misplaced. Never. What I have had them say is, why do you think you feel that way? What is that feeling? How is that feeling affecting you? And then you're like, shut up, man. I didn't come here to think about this. If you've ever done therapy, you get it. If you know, you know. This is why I don't think she goes to therapy. No therapist would ever say that to you. No therapist will ever look at you and say, you shouldn't feel like that. Your feelings on this situation are incorrect. Never. Even if you're overreacting to things. They will say, you're clearly passionate about this, or you clearly feel a certain way about this. And then they'll start asking you questions about why you feel that way. But they'll never neg your feelings, you know?
Things that I shouldn't feel guilty for. But something I'm feeling like a sense of guilt, which I feel like is...
Even if it's negative feelings like this, like, no, it's probably not her fault for whatever she's feeling guilty for. Let's pretend. But no one's ever going to tell you, no, you shouldn't feel guilty because she clearly feels guilty. That's the whole point. The whole point is you feel a certain way about a thing and it doesn't matter if you should or shouldn't. The point is that you need to figure out why you feel that way regardless. Is anybody following me on this? Or am I just
sabotaging me? Like I'm doing like a self-sabotage situation type deal. It's like when I was with Feline, like a lot of people, you know, thought she was a feeder and like all this nonsense that is not.
I don't know. I honestly don't know.
The whole time she was so supportive and she wanted me to lose weight. And it wasn't because of physicality, because she finds me beautiful. And for that, I'm forever grateful because she actually made me feel that way a lot. And it was just because of health and because of stamina. And, you know, she wanted to have a whole life with me. And obviously at this size, she was only able to have like a partial part of that instead of like what she fully wanted.
Ooh, I want to know what that jump cut was about.
Like we couldn't hop on a plane and go to Bora Bora because of me. I had all this support from her and all the guidance. She always urged me to exercise and to eat healthy and do right. And it's like, if I do that now, I'm gonna feel so guilty because it's like, why did I do that when I was with her? So it's like I have this like guilt feeling and I know I need to talk about it.
So you turned on the camera and decided to share with the internet? Has she not learned that this doesn't work? Or does it work? I don't live in her comment section. I purposefully do not go into her comment section. I do wonder if maybe I should a few times though. Because this doesn't work for me. This just doesn't work for me. I'm not her therapist, so I don't have to validate her feelings. So, and I'm a very cut and dry kind of person. Like, don't get me wrong, I am not perfect. And I go hard on myself as hard as I go on other people, but like, get over it and either do something or shut up about it. I mean, those are basically the options. But, you know, as long as you keep making videos, I'm going to keep watching them probably. And I'm going to keep making comments about them because that's what I do.
And, like, I've talked about it to Feline, obviously, like, it's something we talked about earlier today, and it's just, like, she obviously doesn't want me to feel this way, like, regardless if we're together or not, like, she wants me to succeed, but it's, like, why do I feel so bad that, like, if I succeed now when we're not together, like, it's such a weird, like, thing in my brain, like, that I just can't understand, and it just makes me feel guilty. Like, I don't know, I hate it so much. Anyways, I don't want to sit here and just
wipe your damn face off. This is how I know this is stage. I'm not saying she wasn't actually crying, and I'm not saying she wasn't actually emotional in that moment, but instead of wiping her face, wiping the tears off of her face, and like cleaning her face up before the next cut, she just leaves it on here. And we're just going to have to sit here and stare at the tears and the everything that happens when you cry for the rest of this clip. And A, I find it disgusting, and B, it's manipulative. Which I don't have to explain to people. Everybody knows she's manipulative. But that's the thing. Like, I get that you were crying, and I believe that you were crying. Wipe your face off. Why are you leaving it on? It's like, it's makeup at this point. It's a mask at this point. If she wipes it off, how would we know she's been crying the last 5 minutes?
Like,
you know?
Blubber and cry and whatever. So I'm trying to sit here and like take away those feelings of like, yes, Amberlynn, you didn't do it while you were with her, but do it while you're not with her. You don't have to be with her to do it. And you don't have to feel guilty for succeeding while not being with her. And I have to figure out like how I can say that and actually mean it. A lot of people like have said in the past that it seems like I self-sabotage myself, and it's like for the first time ever in my life I feel that way, that I'm like subconsciously self-sabotaging myself.
It has taken you this long to figure out that you're a self-saboteur? Dude, I knew that shit back in high school. Everybody does it a little bit. It's not like I'm special. I'm just pointing out my experiences versus her experiences. I'm not quirky. I'm not weird. I'm not super special. I'm average person 101. You know, I'm just saying, like, everybody self-sabotages at some point, and some of us just continue to do it because that's just what we do, apparently. And apparently some people don't figure that shit out until they're almost in their mid-30s. Which, if that's true, man, that sucks. That really would suck. I think that would really suck. I think if I had made it into my mid-30s and not figured out that I was a self-saboteur, I think I would have had a much rougher life because everything would be someone else's fault at that point. And I would never understand why I can't do anything. And now that, I mean, I've always known that I am the one who, like, I get to a point and it's like, what did my rock climbing friend call it? In rock climbing, the nerve point, I think it was. When you're rock climbing, this is relevant, I swear. When you're rock climbing, you know, you're down at the bottom. I'm talking about the fake rock walls, not real rock walls, because I don't get it, but whatever, they call it that for some reason. You're down at the bottom, you're looking up the tower, and you're like, it's not so bad. And there's like all these little handholds because I'm a baby climber, so I get all the handholds. And I'm like, hey, there's plenty of places for my hands and my feet, right? So you're climbing up the wall, and those first couple feet, you're fine. You're just like, yeah, next one. Yeah, next one. Yeah, next one. And you're like, Jesus Christ, I can lift my body weight and I'm cool and all that stuff. And then you get to a point. You really do get to a point where, like, I compared it to a chess game. I'm like, there's all these moves that I could make and I can't make a decision on which move to make. Like, I couldn't figure out where to put my hand so that I could, I've been doing this the whole time I'm going up this wall. I couldn't figure out where to put my hand to pull up my weight and also put my foot. Tons of handholds, could have done anything I wanted. But you get to that point where your brain locks up. And my friend was calling that, like, I think she called it like the nerve point. And it's fear. And I was like, I don't feel fear. And she's like, well, that's the point. It's fear. You don't recognize it as fear, but that's where fear hits you. That's the point that, that's the point that you shoot for the next time you climb. You want to get past that point because that's your next best. This is your best. This is your next best. But so you go from one fear point to the next fear point, basically. Nerve point. Sorry. But the point is you're overcoming the fear. Self-sabotage is like that. You're trucking along, you're doing fine, you're doing the damn thing, and then you get to a point and you have all these options, or maybe you don't have all these options, but you have all these choices that you could make, all of them are viable, and your brain just goes, whoa, what do I do now? And like, if you're aware that you're self-sabotaging, you can step back and you can look at it and you can be like, okay, am I really having a moment, or is it just me? 9 times out of 10, it's just you. To get to the age of 32 and not have realized that's what you're doing, you have no way of getting out of that situation. You have no way of stepping back and going, oh, I've hit a nerve point. I'm hitting fear. You just think that you have to give up. Like, that would be awful. I know I've ranted long enough now, but geez. If that's true, but I've heard her talk about being a self-saboteur before, so I don't think this is true. But if that were true, I would have a lot of empathy and sympathy. Just because that just seems like it would be awful. But
and I'm like just tripping about it, and I don't know, it's like the craziest feeling that I just cannot wrap my head around fully. I'm trying to ignore it and I'm trying to push it away, but sometimes when feelings are so strong, it's like sometimes virtually impossible to do.
They will literally help you walk
I'm sitting here and
it's their job.
I'm trying to make like a store list and trying to decide like what just makes the most sense to me. And it's like, I just want to like do common sense. I just want to eat healthier, just take out the junk, take out the fast food.
You mean shopping
unless
list?
It's something super healthy, but even then it's just like.
I thought it was something special because she was calling it a store list, but she means a shopping list.
It's hard for me to choose healthier fast food options and take.
Stop eating fast food. There's no such thing as a healthy fast food option. Just period. Even the salads are way too many calories. Just stop eating fast food.
Options. I don't know why. Like, losing weight can be easy. Like, realistically, it can be. No, it really but I just make it so much more difficult than it needs to be. Like, for real. So
yes, you do.
With pen to paper, I have made a store list. So we will definitely do a grocery haul, and I don't know. I just word vomit, and honestly, kind of off topic. I just want to say thank you guys for being like my video diary audience. I appreciate it. And I've also heard around the grapevine, if you will, people are like, this is supposed to be, Amberlynn's single era. Like, she's supposed to be just like popping off and like having a glow up. And no, I'm not in my single era.
The head rocking cracked me up. Something I do want to hit on. I spend way too much time doing this. I'm so sorry. If you make it through these videos, like you deserve a good hearty pat on the back. Again, conversations in my comment section on the last video. Somebody brought up, someone had said she types it up in the computer and on the phone to spell check and grammar check it before she handwrites it into the journal. And I was like, I didn't say this part, but I have done similar before, because I have dyslexia and I can't trust my spelling. My grammar's fine. I can't trust my spelling or my word usage. I will use the wrong word that sounds right. Like there, and there. I don't know who came up with those 3 words, but they need to be slapped because those should just all be the same damn word. I'm sorry. Anyway, my point being, I will type up things. If I have to handwrite a letter, if I have to handwrite anything, even like a thank you card, I will type up what I want to say in a word processor, spell check it, grammar check it, and then I will copy it to make sure, because that's an important moment for me. I don't want to send an important anything out with my spelling errors in it, because you can tell people all day long that you're dyslexic and they're just going to be like, oh, so you don't spell well? Yeah, that's it. That's all the problem is. Sure. So just to save myself that problem, I just do that. I just do that. But if I'm writing in my journal, it's my journal. I don't care. And the only person who's ever going to read this is me. But when I was thinking that and answering that comment, it dawned on me. I think she thinks people are going to read her journals like a novel. They're going to go back and they're going to read her story. It dawned on me this morning with this whole, like, if she really is journaling that way, this whole copying and pasting thing, she thinks people are going to come and read her handwritten journals and be like, oh my God, Amberlynn, you're so interesting. I can't wait to read the next 5 journals that you hand wrote off of your computer instead of just, leaving it on your computer as a save file that I could easily read that way. And publish, because clearly I want to publish this book and make a movie out of it. That would be interesting. I would watch it. I have watched Amberlynn Reid movies. Let's be honest. Mr. Snowflake's little documentary series is what? 9-10 hours long? Omegyan's little expose about her is, I think, 6 or something ridiculous like that. And I've watched them, so I would watch an Amberlynn movie. And now we're at this point with Amber where she appears to think that people want to read her journals and are going to really relish going through her handwritten journals as a document of her life. And it's hard to say she's wrong, honestly, because again, going back to Mr. Snowflake, he spent how many hours reading her live journal and Facebook posts, like doing the digging to find those in the first place and then to actually read them out loud. I sat through one of those and I was like, I'm out, man. This is boring. This is the ramblings of a preteen, early teenage, or early adult, and it's exactly what it sounds like. There's nothing special in there. But the point is that he went through the effort to find those, and I know he's not the only person, okay? So people are wanting to do that. How many of those people would actually sit there and read her handwritten journals just to get dirt on her, tea on her, or just in general because they're curious? So as much as I'm sitting here going, my mind is blown, at the same time, I'm like, oh yeah, I mean, she's not wrong though. My mind is still blown, but she's not wrong. People will read this stuff. People are interested in it. So
I'm in my heartbreak era. I am broken era. I am in my I'm lost era. I am freaking sad. I am grieving. I am mourning era. I'm not in glow up single Lynn era. That's not where I'm at right now. And it's like, if you can't appreciate me being vulnerable, just kind of accepting that this is where my life is at right now, it's like, bye. Obviously, like, there's no connection between me and you, so why are you watching?
You truly do believe that, though. You act exactly like someone who believes that there is a true connection between you and your audience. And there is, for better or for ill. However, we are not your friends. We are not your therapist. We are not your doctors. There are actual professional people who will fill 2 of those roles. The other one you have to work at.
I feel like all the people that I watch, there's like some sort of connection. Yep, and anyone that I like hate, I can't watch. Like, that's like so hard for me. And I know that if there was anyone that I was watching was going through what I was going through, like, my heart would go out to them and I would understand where they're coming from and like where their life is and all of that. And I just feel like people are expecting a lot out of me right now when it's hard for me sometimes just to get out of bed. I'm finding things to do with my life to distract myself, but there's only so much distraction that I can do.
Yeah, because there's only so much you can do. How many of these people that she watches, though, would put a breakup on their channel to begin with and not just be like, hey, we broke up, or hey, I'm single again? And how many of these people would then proceed to drag out said breakup for, we're going on a month? So I would be interested in how many of the people she watches. I don't know who all she watches. I don't care. I don't want to know. But I am curious, like, how many of them would be this emotional about a breakup on air, and how many of them would then proceed to drag it out as long as humanly possible. Like, I'm not lying. I'm bored with the breakup arc because, I mean, okay, you guys broke up. I'm sorry you guys broke up. I am. I don't wish ill on anyone, so I'm sorry you broke up. However, get the fuck over it at this point. I'm over it. I know this is easier for me to say. I'm not living with my ex, but these are also decisions you've made. So
only so much, talking I can do to other people, or journaling I can do. There's only so much of those things until it's just like it all ran out and I'm back to feeling that just like horrible wave of just sad. So yeah, this is like a video diary for me. This isn't my single era.
And I'm all for video diaries. I think I've said this before in other videos. I told you this would be an hour and a half. If you want to keep a video diary, that's fine. I yell at my phone all the time with the recorder on. And then, you know, I may or may not save the video. There's a little secret file for it. No one but me will ever see those videos. And I think if I don't log in 30 days, like they automatically delete it because it's one of those kind of files. I don't want to share that stuff with people. I'm having a moment. It's not the best version of me. It's not even like a semi-decent version of me. Why would I want to put that out there where everyone can see it? Because it's also not me. It's me in a moment. And I'm not a great person in that moment, but that's not me. So why would I want that out there on the internet where it's permanent and also might be the only interaction with me that people have? You know, I'm not saying I put a fake facade up. I mean, I'm like this in real life. I'm scatterbrained and I talk about shit and I ramble and I swear and all that good stuff. But, you know, I'm not going to put the worst version of myself on the internet and then get mad at people for not liking it. Because, yeah, I don't like that version of me. Why would I expect other people to be sympathetic and, you know, be like, oh, it's okay, though? It's not. You know, there's an inside voice and an outside voice. And your video diaries are your inside voice. Anyway.
This is my heartbreak era for sure. And I just wish people were a little more kind. And now she's
faking it again.
I really do.
This video has already been way too long, so I'll wrap it up real quick. I will probably try to edit this down to 45 minutes, but as it stands, it's almost an hour and a half. So yeah, we'll cut that down. If you've made it this far in the video, go ahead and leave a baby bottle down or a baby rattle down in the comment section for so many reasons. And yeah, if you've made it this far, you may as well like and subscribe because you're clearly back for another round. And again, thank you to everybody who is supporting the channel. I know I'm a wee little baby channel, but I really do appreciate it. And I appreciate the support. Please comment. I am enjoying interacting with the comments. I'm enjoying interacting with the comments. I really am. And yeah, I have some other much shorter videos that'll be coming out that aren't necessarily like they're Amber adjacent. So keep an eye out for those. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next one.